Hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all good. Alrighty. Let me know how the sound is and that. I have something slightly different going on technically today, so I'd appreciate I'd appreciate feedback if things aren't perfect. Yeah, hope everyone's good. It's Thursday. Let me remove that. Interesting model we have today. This is a model that I've had a little bit of internal debate about whether we should draw. Static from Mike. Is that right? All right, tell me if this is better. You can hear me at least, I'm hoping. Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, I've been a little bit hesitant to do this model, but I think that anatomically she's so interesting that I feel like it's necessary. So yeah, let's draw her. So we talked about doing a couple of longer poses today. I'm definitely up for that happening. I would say let's start off with things moving towards like a 15 to 20, and then we'll see if it makes sense to go longer. We'll kind of know, I think, or I'll know by the 10-minute mark where I'm going with this. You'll just have to bear with me. That's so weird. This mic is, it's very, what's the word? Fickle. Okay, let me change camera. There we go. That also, is it just my imagination or does it look a bit, no, I guess it's fine. Is it a little fisheye? Can't be. Sorry, I made some switches technically. This is all a bit of a trial run. I'm only 166 streams in. Can't be expected to have it nailed down yet. Okay, let me set the timer and let's just start drawing. You'll also notice that I have cropped in on our model. I've removed below the knee in several instances. It's because I just really feel that this is about the torso. So I made an executive decision. Coming around iliac crest, coming around this way. Obviously our model is, to say she is very lean is almost feels like an understatement. But we get a chance to see things just with a clarity that we just would not normally get. Arch of the rib cage, sitting in here. You'll also notice, and another reason I thought that she would be an interesting kind of exercise is given how lean she is, it presents a whole kind of different set of challenges with design language, and actually people this lean can be potentially very difficult to draw. So I think from that perspective, she's going to be really challenging. Let's get our deltoid just as a placeholder there. Head of the humerus obviously up here. Our bicep kind of starting its journey here. Having enough money to buy bread on Thursday was a luxury since it was all spent on alcohol and junk food by Tuesday. Yeah, I had a period of time in my life where I had a similar regime. We draw a triangle, or I'm inclined to draw a triangle here to separate how the pectoral muscle thins out between the manubrium and this point here. Quite clear on this model, once again, this front plate of the rib cage, because of how lean she is. Might pull it up just a tiny bit. And then we've got the clavicle we can see wrapping around this way. The head of our humerus here, and this shoulder going back this way. Oh, you guys have got, there's ads going on. Oh no, this is part of my as I said, I changed some things, some technical things. Let me see if I can turn delay ads, insert ad, delay ads. You shouldn't be getting any ads. Oh, it's only delaying it by 10 minutes. I don't know how to turn them off. All right, well, when the timer comes up, I'll just keep turning them off. Sorry, guys. You know what, I'll tell you what happened, just kind of briefly. Well, the ads would be good for me, in fairness, but Mike has static acting up quite a bit. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, what happened was, after the last stream, I got another warning, we'll call it, putting it politely, from Twitch. You guys are so tired of hearing about all this. Basically saying that, you know, long story short, that if I continue to broadcast the kind of things I'm broadcasting, that they're going to shut me down. I thought Twitch was meant to be better than YouTube. Anyway, long story short is I've decided to cut Twitch out of this whole situation, so Twitch is no longer an option. But the point is, I had to change some settings. And I didn't realize the whole ad thing was happening. Sound quality is good now. Thanks for the heads up. You know, you've never had it happen before, Margot, because I've always made a point of making sure that there are never ads during the live stream. The auto ad generator thing must have been on, and I will get that resolved for next time. Because yeah, that's not going to work if we're trying to draw trapezius coming down this way. Yeah, Twitch is, you know, it's just strange, isn't it? Because I got the impression that Twitch was a little more relaxed than YouTube even. And my issue is that they simply won't let me, they don't give you any opportunity to resolve the issue. They give you a warning, but they don't give you any tools by which to appeal or to talk to someone, or so it's more trouble than it's worth. Frankly, Twitch was not exactly, you know, really bringing anything to the table. So hopefully those people that were watching on Twitch, the 2 people that were watching on Twitch, will be able to find it. So iliac crest coming around, ASIS is right here, very, very clear, the 2 points of the ASIS on this model. And look how sharp that is right here on this side, that ASIS. And then we get like a turn right there, lots of great opportunities for tension. Gluteus medius really has no mass to it, I guess because how lean she is. Which was better than I decided to roll back their policies. All right, well, yeah, what can you do? Long torso, yeah, doesn't she? Really does. I'm gonna pull this down, this arch of this rib cage, just down to about here, actually. You know, I haven't drawn it long enough, truth be told. How do I want to fix this? It's a big fix. I'll figure it out. I think I can push and pull ever so slightly here and there, and I'll be able to get it into the right, you know, right ballpark. All right, let's stop pushing and pulling, I think. Oh, we're not going to talk about how her scapula is visible from this angle. I'm not seeing her scapula. Gotta be honest, don't see it, Lulu. The clavicles are very clear, but I'm not seeing the scapula. Let me know what I'm missing. She must weigh like 90 pounds, yeah, right? Hello, fellow pet eaters. Nice. Yep. That's what we do apparently, eat pets. Hilarious. Would genuinely be funny if it wasn't so terrifying. So yeah, I'm gonna pull these things up. You see, I'm just pulling, like for example, the breast up here, just a tiny bit. We can make those kind of tweaks, and it's just going to help hopefully recalibrate manubriums here. Clavicle. Yeah, this will work. So we got the oblique. Sitting there. Clavicle sitting there. Oof, what happened to this music? Ouch. No, it's enough. All right, we're gonna take some musical roulette here. Let's see. Eesh. Let's give this a go. Wow, that's a change of pace. Lift this breast up too. And the pectoral. Sitting there. Yeah, that's her braid. You're right, Margot. That's what Lulu was referring to. Yeah, that would be, if that was her scapula, we would, she'd be in trouble. Although there is a back view that does kind of get into that kind of territory. All right, this was a bad idea. Sorry guys, I'm looking for something that, let's see what this is all about. All right. Really long limbs. Pets as food would be a good drawing exercise. That's your stream, Rick. That's your catch, man. Alright, I'm delaying the ads again. Sorry guys if you guys are getting ads. I'm really sorry. That is a huge mess up on my part. Actually, maybe I can... Let me see if I can just turn them off on YouTube itself. Maybe I can. Alright. Let's try that. Hopefully that will take care of it. Let's see. You guys noticing how much earlier it's getting dark now? I swear, like the last week, it's kind of shocking at how much earlier it's getting dark. Plus the weather, it's got chilly here already. Trapezius. Rick saying, great model. I'm not sure whether I like skinny models or heavier models better. It's a different set of challenges, isn't it? It's absolutely a different set of challenges. I think I think in the interest of, you know, exercising our drawing muscles, I think to do both is really useful. Once again, I say it too often, but I wish we had more heavier models, or even more just, you know, like more models that just have a bit of weight on them. It is, at least for me, it's frustrating just how many, you know, perfectly athletic models we end up drawing. Yeah, yeah, long limbs. It is tricky. I actually saw that around lunchtime today, my time, Grafit Studio actually just released a new pack with a male model who looks like he'll be super interesting to draw. It was a little too late for today, but I would imagine he will be next week's subject. Very interesting. All right. Where are we at? Half an hour. Yeah, I think we'll call it on this and move on. Yeah, not crazy about this drawing. Oh, this music's absolutely terrible. You'd have every right of accusing me of elevator music. Yeah, let's leave it there. Not terrible for a warm-up, but yeah, a bit uninspired. Can you explain the lines on the face you just made? It just some very ham-fisted attempt at just getting in some construction lines, Jay. You know, it's kind of like Riley-esque, I guess, but I got impatient and didn't really flesh it out properly. Maybe some Pink Floyd live. That would be awesome. God, how nice it would actually be able to play music that I actually listen to. Alas, you think it's bad with the YouTube rules now. Imagine if I just played, you know, Pink Floyd and the likes. Your rendering of her is very flattering. You're very kind. Not crazy about it personally, but you know, I'll take the compliments. That was so much harder than anticipated. I lost gesture halfway through, too upright at the end. These are very, very tough poses, in my opinion. Very super deceiving. Okay, this next one's going to be just as tough. Let me reset the clock. Just give me 1 second here, guys. I just need to clean my hand. Get the charcoal off. For humming a song, they got demonetized. Phew. Yikes. Appreciate your willingness to render all body types. You're very welcome, Tina. You know, as I've said before, I just wish we could actually push even further than we do. If by the very slim chance that anyone who produces model content is watching, please, less athletes, more real humans would be so much appreciated. All right, time is going. Oh, that's not good. Literally one stroke into the drawing, the pencil's gone. All right. Yeah, this pose is going to be super, super tricky because there's not really, you know, there's not really any kind of, although we've got some very interesting anatomical ideas, there's no real extension or compression on the torso, the relationship between the upper and the lower torso. So we've got to really have our wits about us on how we find dynamics. So, yeah, really tough. Iliac crest coming down to the sacrum, which is about here, going around the form that way. You've got to be, it's really, you know, it's funny, isn't it? Because we're looking at what you could very easily describe as a very flat pose, and yet our ability to render three-dimensional form becomes never more important, in my opinion, than when doing poses like this, because we don't have any of our usual things to fall back on. You know, there's nothing to hide behind. Plus, like, if you look at her left and her right leg and the relationship of them to each other, very, very kind of unconventional as far as what we're used to seeing. Once again, precisely why I chose this pose. I knew it was going to be a beast. You know, sometimes we've got to push. We can really get a sense for the great trochanter pushing out this way, right? We've got our wide point about here. God, you can really see it sitting in this region. Our rib cage sitting in here. You're not going to draw it. Margot, come on now. One of my pet peeves, this photo is cropped at the shins. I cropped this at the shins, Rick. I'll tell you why I cropped it at the shins. I mentioned it early on, because I think what's really important about these poses is the relationship between the upper and the lower torso. With this, I'm considering this more of an anatomy session. And while what was going on below the shins is an extension, the problem is everything would be so much smaller then, right? And I felt it was in our best interest to be able to see clearly, more clearly, what was going on with the back anatomy. So I will take the blame for that. You know, in fairness to Grafit, they didn't do that. That wasn't all me. I made a choice. See how that trapezius we talked about before, how it thins out around C7 and T1, sitting right here, right where the rib cage starts and the neck ends. We can see how it's connecting to the scapula there and coming across this way. Almost got this type of effect going on, right? When I crop my full-length photos, it's halfway up the thigh or full body. Fair enough. Michael, hey Michael, last 3-minute pose from last Thursday. It was so expressive. Thanks. Yeah, that was a fun pose. That was a fun session. Yeah, we got some. Okay, so with this side, at least for now, is somewhat resolved. Look at the trapezius. Okay, so Margot, just for what it's worth, the attachment point is actually up on the ridge of the scapula up here, but we can see that trapezius that starts up at the neck, right? Up at the occipital ridge up here, and the trapezius, it kind of comes down this way, meets up with the scapula, and then it comes down in a V shape here, and you can really see clearly that trapezius coming down and attaching at the mid-back point there, and then you can see it on this side kind of going up this way, but we'll get to that after we've got the scapula in and all of that. Yeah, like, you know, we've talked before about the lower lumbar muscles. As they go up, they connect with the rib cage, and then they branch out, and frankly, they don't look so dissimilar to, you know, the branches of a tree, and as the branches get smaller and smaller, the further out they get from the trunk. There's several layers of these back muscles, and they start off, you know, like they're quite substantial down here, but then as we go up the form, they do that branching effect. And so what you're seeing here, Margot, in this region here, is these branching muscles kind of coming out this way and actually connecting with the scapula. So the scapula, because her arm is extended, her scapula is sitting kind of about here. We can see it doing something like this, right? Coming up this way, a chromium process coming around there, and these little very thin muscles kind of attaching to this edge of the scapula and really under tension. I have never seen that before on a live model. I've seen these muscles expressed at like Body World's exhibition, you know, like that type of thing, but never on a live model before. And this really is just, well, it's one of the reasons I wanted to draw her, but it's also just, it's a byproduct of just how insanely lean she is, you know. So yeah, very interesting. Then you can see that trapezius, kind of the tension on it here as it meets up with the scapula, meets up with the ridge of the scapula. which is actually, right, so we've got infraspinatus, supraspinatus, teres minor, and teres major. Those four muscles of the scapula. And we can see the ridge of the scapula here, coming in, acromion process sitting here, and then the deltoid, which is also attaching to the ridge of the scapula, kind of sitting in there. And then this arm is obviously going up this way, away from us. So it's quite foreshortened, it's quite tricky. Latissimus also, which is not really expressing itself to the same degree, but the latissimus is obviously sitting in here as well. But yeah, look, I think there's a lot to be said for when you get a pose like this. If you need clarity, to pause for a minute and to open an anatomy book is probably a really good idea. Yeah, occipital ridge sitting about there, right? And then this hand sitting here. And she's holding this bow, which is coming something like this, and she's pulling with her hand is about here, so we can get a sense of it's probably actually up here. And then the bow is getting pulled back, which is causing so much of this tension. Right. Once again, coming down this way, we can see that iliac crest and its turning point there, gluteus medius sitting in there. Actually great the way she's got her plaits tied up there. We'll bring some clarity to this as we tie down. This is hard. It is hard. Yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it? The idea to have her pull on something to exert genuine force. Yeah, right. It definitely helps. For sure. All right, I'm going to start doing a bit of tie down. Yeah, you know, I haven't looked at the whole set, but I've got high hopes for this model that we're going to draw next week. I think that we're going to get some very interesting anatomy out of him. Yeah, secondary start. Look, Rick, these are tough, man. These are really tough. Possibly some of the hardest stuff we've had to draw in a while. It's a good challenge. These long limbs, you know, try and resist the temptation to, or maybe a better way to put it would be look for opportunities to break up the length with shape language. It's a real test of our understanding and how to handle these things. Really difficult. This is why the figure is such a great platform for developing our drawing, because you know we've been doing this a while, right? And yet still find opportunities to express new ideas or to develop old ideas into something that is needed. Like, you know, we've never drawn a model this lean before. And it just gives us a chance to exercise a completely different set of muscles, our own muscles. Things like this foreshortening aren't helping. And trapezius, once again a chromium process. Trapezius meeting up here and then coming up to that occipital ridge, which is behind her hairline. Her hair is sitting about here, whereas the occipital ridge is kind of just up, kind of mid-ear. You know, if you run from the back of your head and you run your finger across, you'll see it's like about halfway. Yeah, good stuff. Scapulas, scapulae. Scapula. I don't know, I feel like it's just plural, scapula. I don't think you say scapulas. It's like mice, I think. I don't know. I don't know what would be considered correct there, to be honest. Scapulae? Nice, Lulu. I don't even know how you type that, but yeah, solid. Cacti, exactly. Either is correct. I will take your word for it, Marco. Feels like it's one of those that either should be correct, yeah. All right, what are we going to do with the light and tone on this one? It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? All right, it could be a good exercise on how to simplify. So let's let me start. I'll try and. I'm not sure if I can explain my thought process with this because I think it's. Because I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to do it yet. Cast shadow. Let's do the easy stuff first. So we've got this, the edge of this scapula. So a light source obviously is coming from this direction. But for those of you who don't have the reference, just for what it's worth. So this light is hitting the scapula. The scapula is under this weird tension where it's creating a shadow. Kind of sitting in here. But then this trapezius is literally sitting here. So we're creating this kind of triangular dip in there. So we'll just call that for now. But then the form is turning away from the light, the rib cage. Once again, you know, things like squint and simplify. So, you know, when we squint, all of those extra lots of little shadows in this area here, they all kind of disappear, which I think will be good for us if they do. Okay, this music's driving me nuts. All right, let's see. So once again, large ideas. What is in light? What is in shadow? And then we can come in and, you know, make some calls about smaller ideas. Alright, this music's making me mental. Brush Creek, Tennessee, huh? Hey Margie, you're welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if you've been here before. Thank you for the kind words. Brush Creek, Tennessee. That actually sounds really cool. Well, I won't look it up now, but I'd be curious. Brush Creek. Sounds deserty. I'm not sure if it is, but feels like it should be. Okay. I am making a mess today, aren't I? Good Lord, that's a dirty drawing. And not very well lit. Interesting. Okay, it is what it is. All right, let's just get block in. Let's do some coloring in here. There is a tendency when we've got so much detail on a pose, there is not a tendency, but a huge temptation to want to explain everything that we're seeing. And my general advice would be that we want to try and simplify as much as possible. And this is all pretty much in shadow, isn't it? It's convenient. Get to her hand, and then it kind of something like that. Where are we at? 29 minutes again. All right. Well, it is what it is. think maybe we can pull out some of these ideas, actually, at least some of these subtleties, hopefully we can pull out with light rather than just trying to do everything in tone. Let's see what happens. Let's pull out the eraser. So yeah, we've got these tension lines. Want to try and treat it subtly. All right. I think that might do it. It's not perfect by any stretch, but I think it's all I'm going to get out of this one. Probably just could blend in some of this tone so it looks a bit more deliberate rather than me just with my big gorilla fingers making a big mess. All right. The head is a mess. Anyway, I think I'm done. I am done. 6B. Is someone asking what pencils I'm using? 6B. Always 6B. Yeah, 6B, and this is, you're right, Lulu, A2? Lulu's been around a minute. Lulu knows what's up. Yeah, this is A2 newsprint, smooth newsprint, and General's charcoal 6B pencils. It's a combination of being warmed up and low expectations. This, you know what? There's a lot to be said for low expectations getting you where you need to go. Very, very, very tricky pose, that one, if I say so myself. Just, you know, we talked about at the beginning about how quiet the pose is. You know, when we've got a pose where every limb is doing something really dramatic and it really makes life a lot easier. this is a pose that is incredibly static in some sense, which really makes, which really is a very tough balance, you know, for it to not get too static or to start looking cartoonish. I'm somewhat happy with certain aspects of it. I think that, yeah, it's fine. Look, these are tough. I'm gonna give myself a break on it. Nice tonal work. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah, but like definitely low expectations, sir. They are the move. Okay, let's move on to the third pose, folks. Okay, we've got a front pose. Once again, a relatively static pose, and it's relatively front on, right? Or it's very front on. It's very slight, very tiny turn in the torso, but I think it's just an interesting study, you know. So let's get cracking. I'm just looking at my pencil situation. I think it's time for something fresh. Did Rick quit? Hey Doug, hope you're well, man. Drawing is for suckers. Absolutely. Yeah, like, you know, it's all fine for you guys sitting on that side of the camera. You can just go, you know what, I'm not drawing this one or whatever. I am committed to going on no matter what. All right, center line. Once again, slightly off center. Very, very slightly. Tricky. Okay, Asus is sitting here and here. Inguinal ligament is coming down this way. I'm actually drawing everything a little bit smaller than I would actually like, but because I want to allow real estate for these arms. Okay, iliac crest. Oblique. Arch of the rib cage. Sitting about here. Manubrium, clavicle, head of the humerus. You guys know the drill. You know what's up. Humerus. Look at, be mindful of the difference in angle of this arm to this arm, right? We can, especially when we've got a pose that's so straight on, any opportunity like that to bring a tiny bit of dynamics into the drawing is, we've got to exploit that, because, you know, we're dealing with a drawing that's so incredibly, potentially so incredibly static. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Trapezius. navel, it's going to be sitting about here. Normally I like to find a bit of dynamics with the tummy line, the center line, to you know, to bring volume and mass, but between her being so straight on and her being so lean, it ain't giving us much to work with. Okay, so the oblique is sitting in there. Alright, enough with the Snoopy music. Okay. From the iliac crest coming down to the acis, look at that sartorius. Really, we can see it in this region here, especially from where, you know, where it connects at the acis, just through here. Really very clear. Tensor fasciae latae is essentially doing nothing. Gluteus medius, there is none. This leg is coming towards us ever so slightly. Pectoral. You can see a little bit more on this side of the, but I think that's probably rectus femoris. We're getting just a hint of there, which is then obviously coming down the leg this way. Yeah, this model does not possess tensor fasciae latae. Trapezius. Once again, I've mentioned this a number of times, but in the interest of trying to give some advice, I always draw this mass, or I tend to think of this mass of the deltoid, even though we can't see it, right? Like it's obscured by the bicep sitting in here, and the tricep obviously, you know, coming in on this side. Still like to think about that as an idea, you know, even the scapula is kind of sitting here and it's coming up this way. You know, from the back, our acromion process is probably sitting there. Latissimus coming down this way. It's just really useful for just kind of helping visualize volume. Michael asks, is your starting point always the bean method? I'll answer that by saying primarily. The thing is, I tend to shift gears with heavily foreshortened poses where I'll start stacking boxes instead. Put it this way, a bean, upper torso, lower torso being represented as bean, or a box, or boxes, you know, you could look at it a number of different ways. Sometimes a hybrid, right, depending on the pose. A lot of the time it's the rhythm of the pose that will also suggest kind of the approach. But to get to the answer to your point is, regardless, bean or box or whatever, I generally try and find the upper and the lower torso, the volumes and the dynamics of the upper and the lower torso first. As I was taught, and I like to repeat, the largest forms tell us the most. What are the largest forms of the body? The upper and the lower torso, right? Obviously, there's other things that we do want to be considering. For example, is there a supporting leg which is creating hip tilt, which is then going to create a counteraction with the upper torso, right, with the rib cage. But essentially, if we want to break it down to a bean, you could say, yes, I start with the bean, but there's exceptions. I draw and paint. Drawing is harder. Do you find that to be the case, Margie? Yeah. I'm generally of the belief that your painting is only as good as your drawing. It's my feeling. Because I think that drawing informs painting to such a high degree, and I don't know if you can draw with authority or paint with authority if you don't understand the drawing that's behind it, if that makes sense. But you know, to each their own, everyone's different. Let's not get into the talent conversation. I don't believe in talent, Tanaka. I believe in hard work. They are not necessarily the same thing. Okay, let's keep going here. All right, so we're kind of blocked in now, aren't we? For the most part. All right. Sternocleidomastoid coming up this way. Oh, I didn't read all your comments there, Lulu. Apologies if I'm repeating what you've already said. Okay. Where do I want to start is the question. You know, it's interesting, for a model that has her arms up the way she does, her clavicles are really not doing that, if that makes sense. That's my technical term. Anyway, let's get busy. just, even though it's a bit premature, I'm just going to indicate some core shadows here and there because it's just going to help describe form. That'll do for now. Yeah, beans and boxes. But you know, it is interesting because, as I said, I am actually a big believer, especially as I think the box and the bean are great conceptually for someone to kind of, who's starting out, to kind of get a grasp of the idea. But honestly, I find practically hybrid shapes tend to give you the most bang for your buck, so to speak. And once again, it very, very much pose dependent. And model dependent, you know, it's almost feels lazy to say it, but you know, male models being more angular, or potentially more angular, you know, you might find yourself going more beanie-like, whereas a voluptuous female, you know, you might go rounder forms might make more sense. Do you know what I mean? It's a leaping off point. So you let the kind of, you let the model and the situation kind of help inform what it is that you use. Now I need to be careful because I don't want this to get too, I don't want to lose my volume here. Now we're okay. And then we can see the latissimus peeking out into the deltoid that we drew earlier. Coracobrachialis, little tiny little things sitting in there. And then the tricep starting its journey this way. Bicep on this side. Forearm. Trapezius sitting in here. All right, let's have a look. What's going on here? So from the oblique hitting into a transition with the rib cage. coming down to the Great Trochanter, sitting right about here. Yeah, incredibly quiet pose. You know, this session has been a bit, it's been quite different to what we normally do in many respects, I think. You know, I don't normally pick such a series of quiet poses. I kind of like, it makes for a change. So, thank you, Samson. It's very kind of you. Stick around long enough, you would probably change that opinion. Okay. Sartorius. Once again, it's really prominent in this area here. And then we can see rectus femoris, kind of just that little pinch that we get right there, and then it kind of softens out as it comes down the leg. You can see the gluteus back there. All right, I think we're probably at a point where we can start to get to the colouring in stage. All right, let's find some core shadows. And cast shadows. Margie, yeah, look, I think it's really useful to sorry, are you out here, Margot? Take care. Or did Lulu leave? Oh, Lulu left. Well, Lulu, if you don't hear this, then it means nothing. But have a great weekend. Yeah, look, I think it really helps. You know, obviously you're just seeing me draw. Like, the members of the channel have access to the reference that I'm working with. So we're all kind of working from the same material. And it certainly makes life a lot easier when you can actually see the actual reference. And I would actually, just to that point, I would strongly advise that you resist the temptation to copy other people's drawing. Like, for example, I know, just because I get messages all the time from people that, you know, I get a pretty good sense that they're copying my drawings and they're not working with the reference. And I appreciate that for some people that's what they want to do. But I would say if it's something that you want to improve at, you really should be working with the actual reference. That would be my suggestion. Her face is basically all in shadow, isn't it? Yeah, I keep the reference hosted on my website, Margie. And, you know, people, we do these sessions like once a week and maybe sometimes twice a week. I do think it's people drawing along with the stream. I think people have seen pretty good progress from it. So it could be an option if it's something that you want to do with not too much commitment. Access to the reference is pretty cheap, I think. Plus you get access to the Discord, you get to hang out there, post your work, get feedback. It's a whole thing. Now, is this another 30-minute drawing? Good Lord. All right, we have spent way longer on these than I had ever anticipated, which isn't a bad thing. We did say we would do some longer form drawing. Wasn't 100% sure it was going to be today, but as it turns out, here we are. So I haven't really, you know, coming into the tonal part of this drawing, I didn't really add any additional charcoal. I worked purely with blending what was already on the drawing. I think it's a good place to start, generally speaking, especially when you're starting out and if you're a little unsure, rather than going in and adding, because charcoal can be so, you know, intense. Sometimes it's a good thing to just work with what's already on the page and build up slowly rather than, you know, big level of commitment right off the get-go. It's always much easier to add than to have to try and take away, in my experience. Like we could keep going, but I feel like this is probably a pretty good place to call it. All right, I'm going to call it there. Yeah, we were going to do super long poses today. You were absolutely right, Rick. Here's the thing, and I feel bad because I feel like I kind of threw you a curveball there. I thought with this model, it was and we have done pretty long poses, these 30-minute jobs. But I did feel with this model, the emphasis should be on kind of searching through the anatomical kind of ideas. You know, I think maybe a more conventional model, for want of a better term, with more conventional poses might be better for the super long poses. We're mixing it up. Quiet pose, right? Tricky. Camille, welcome. Awesome. Okay, here's the deal. We've got 2 more poses. We are getting quite close to the end of proceedings here. I do think that these last 2 poses could very much lend themselves to being a couple of 5-minuters. So let's do that. Okay. So 2 5-minute poses. This next pose is another really tricky one. And I did think it would make a decent long form pose, but I actually do think it will make a great, it'll make a great 5-minute pose. Which is the Discord's name? I think it's my name, Camille, but if you go down the community chat, you'd have to scroll a bit. If you go to the community chat tab on my channel and you scroll down, you should find a link to the Discord channel, which is available for members, of which you are one now. And also you'll find there links to the reference being hosted on my website, okay? I will, in the morning, I will put a fresh Discord link up on the community chat page, just in case the one that's up there has expired or that, you know? So if you go on there and it's not working, rest assured, in the morning I'll put up a fresh one for you, okay? Okay, we're going to do 2 5-minute poses. As I like to say, we are not messing around any longer. Let's do it. 5 minutes. This is one of those poses that, without the benefit of seeing the reference, you're going to wonder what the hell I'm drawing. I don't know if Michael's still with us, but Michael, we talk about, you know, beans versus boxes. So this is very much, given the nature of the pose, kind of, you know, a bean tends to do the job, if that makes sense. But, you know, I could be, there's no doubt next week when we're drawing the male model, there's no doubt I could very well be reverting more to boxes. Treating both legs as a single idea, at least up here. And then subdivide here. And this leg coming down this way. Or something like that. Hands are roughly in line with the knees, so there's a quick point of measurement. Something like that. This one coming in. Something like that. Her head. Sitting down here. The scapula is sitting so far forward there. Ah, Michael's still with us. All right, good. Well, yeah, maybe with the next pose, it's more standing, and it will be obviously a 5-minute pose, and hopefully it'll help get the point across. All right, we have 3 minutes. Time flies with these poses. "30 seconds. Ah. And she is holding a stick coming out this way, which we should probably draw to give some context to what we're doing. And there's our 5. All right, well, what can I say? It is what it is. Quick pose. All right, let's get to the final one. Yeah, you know, Michael, the gesture poses, the 5-minute poses. Well, it's comes back to what I was saying earlier about the broader the pose, I'm going to say to some degree, the easier to draw. The quieter poses that we've been doing in this session up till now are, in my opinion, quite tricky. Trickier. Okay, let's keep going. So last pose, 5 minutes. So this is a standing pose, and arguably going to be a little bit more straightforward than the last one. Longer lines of action tend to just be easier as well, you know. Deltoid. Pectoral coming down. Almost there. Where are we at? 2 minutes 53. 2 more minutes. Okay. Ponytail. Proportions are a little bit off here. And I think I'm going to call it, bit of a mess. So be it. Hope you're all doing good. I see there's a couple of more people joining us, unfortunately joining us right at the end. That's okay. But we will be back next week. Next Thursday, we will be back. Will I do a stream earlier in the week? I'm not sure. I think it's unlikely, but I'm not completely ruling it out. Just keep an eye on the notifications or the chat. You know, get notifications if you see that I'm like, hey, you know, I'm gonna stream today, then there we go. But if not, I will see you on Thursday at 5 o'clock London time. Please adjust accordingly. They've had an earthquake in Malibu, 4.7. That'll get your attention. Yeah, hopefully everyone's okay. Guys, it's been fun. That was a tough session. Once again, keep reiterating it, but quiet poses, in my opinion, tend to be some of the hardest. You know, foreshortened poses are obviously tricky as well, but there's something about quiet, symmetrical poses where we have to be so on our guard. They really do take the observational skills to a 10, you know. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, as you guys in the chat are saying, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that's much appreciated. Also, if you're watching this after the fact in the future, any comments, any suggestions, or anything that you would like to see on the streams, please leave a comment below, because if I don't get feedback, then it's hard for me to know what you guys want. But anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and most importantly, take care of yourselves, all right? I'll see you next week. All right, cheers everyone. Take care. Bye now.